We are live 364 days a year. What are we doing here?
If Dom turns at SummerSlam, I'm shaving my moustache off. I've told you, if that happens, it's going. My lip is cold because of a stupid bet that I made with YouTube.
Oh, good.
Wrestle's better than Daniel Bryan Daniels. Better than Okada.
I'm not going to see after Monday Night Raw.
Good evening from Swansea, South Wales, wrestling fans. I'm your host, Ben Allison, and you are watching the 1038th edition of Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast, and we are going to be discussing all the major talking points coming out of last night's episode of Monday Night Raw. It's certainly going to be a really fun episode, and you guys know what I say, for a fun episode I need a fun panel, and I do have one today. In fact, we are going to kick things off with a guy who I haven't been on the same show as in what feels like months at this point. How are you, Jordy in the bank?
It's me. I was thinking, I was like, is he talking about me? But it has to be me because, yeah, it feels like I don't know, years since we've done a show together, but it's nice to have you here on a Tuesday. It's not quite, I wouldn't say this is my yard at this point, but, you know, I'm a mainstay on a Tuesday, and I'm excited to have you here talking about Raw. Let's go. Let's do it.
Absolutely, and I'm a lot more positive to talk about Raw today because what I've been complaining about all day is this WrestleMania announcement. They've been teasing it up on social media for 48 hours, and it ended up being something which we already knew was going to happen. And I'm not going to be talking about that today, but DCX Warlord correctly pointing out in the comments that I am in pain about this. It is infuriating, but thankfully, Arsenal are still number one in the Premier League. But talking about things being number one in sports, some guy who's never going to experience that feeling because he roots for all the worst teams in sports is Dez. How are you, Dez?
Wow. You know, I stayed up till 3 a.m. yesterday to watch the Toronto Blue Jays lose a baseball game in the World Series. That just goes to show. But yeah, it's another day. Monday Night Raw was a fun show. I got Jordy, we got Ben, we got lots to talk about, and we got a different main event for once, which is always welcome. So yeah, I'm excited to do it.
There's no doubt about that, isn't it? Right, I told Triple H I'm on the Raw review show. We need to make sure we mix it up this week, and he did deliver. But there is one thing which is causing a lot of divide right now in the IWC, in the internet wrestling community, because a lot of people are saying last night that has LA Knight been buried by WWE? Because, of course, last week a lot of fans wanted him to win the Battle Royale, but instead Jey Uso won it. Now this week he faced Bron Breakker, and he loses that match as well. Fans want him to be pushed, yet WWE are saying no, no, no. So are they burying him? Absolutely not. LA Knight, I hate to break it to all of you, but is not a top of the card guy. That doesn't mean he's not necessarily at times can be in the main event scene, but he's not somebody who is always going to be there. And I will tell you why. WWE right now have an aging roster. Almost all of their main event scene, in fact, pretty much all of their main event scene are going to be retired in 2 to 3 years' time. That means they need to create new main event stars. LA Knight is the age of the aging main event scene. He cannot be the one they put their time into. It has to be younger guys, such as a Bron Breakker, and therefore Bron Breakker was right to win last night. Last week, I'm presuming the reason they did that was for some heel to a Jey Uso or something like that. But the fact is, LA Knight is not going to become a WWE champion, nor should he become a WWE champion. Despite the fact he is really talented, it's just unfortunately really bad timing for him. But Jordy, I know you are a huge LA Knight guy, so I want to get your thoughts.
Yeah, I disagree with very much. I disagree with a lot of it because I don't disagree that he is not a main event player. I think he is in the same way that Jey Uso is. I think him and Jey Uso fall into that same category of they can do a little bit in the main event scene, but yes, I agree. He's not a CM Punk. He's not a Roman Reigns. He's not a Cody Rhodes. I get that. He's not quite at that level. But Damian Priest, for example, He's the same age as Damian Priest. Priest got given the Money in the Bank briefcase. Priest got given a title run. I think LA Knight can do a better job than Damian Priest with the title, and that is nothing against Damian Priest. I'm a huge fan of Damian Priest, and I've been quite vocal about that since the time I've been at Wrestling Republic. But I just, again, in the comments there, DCX Warlord, he's a former world champion in TNA, and he was a good world champion in TNA. Let us just say he held that belt well. I don't understand why he can't have a title run at the top. I get it, timing's an issue, I understand, but if we're giving people like Jey Uso a run, I think LA Knight could do a better job than Jey Uso did with the title. I think he can do a better job than Damian Priest did with the title. I really don't understand it. The fans want him. He's clearly got what it takes. He's got, as he says, an undeniable Kavorka. There's something, a star quality to him that fans can't help but love. His in-ring ability, I think, is underrated, especially for his age. And I just don't understand. Like, it's a strike while the iron's hot situation. And if we don't do it, it will be a situation, I guarantee it, in 5 years' time, people will look back and say they should have put the strap on LA Knight when they had a chance. And we'll miss that opportunity.
I'll explain to you exactly why those are two very different situations, Jordy, right? The first one being that Jey Uso, he was in WWE for over a decade. I think.
But talk to me about Damian Priest then. Talk to me about Damian Priest.
Right?
Who came through
when it comes
NXT.
to Damian Priest, no, listen. When it comes to Damian Priest, I completely agree.
LA Knight was in the same Money in the Bank match. We wanted him to win it.
It shouldn't have happened. It was a massive mistake by WWE. They should have never given him the belt, and I think they took it off him, and they've not put him back in the main event scene since, because they're like, we're not going to get a return on our investment, so therefore it's not really worth it. I also think part of that situation was they realized they messed up the Judgment Day story so badly, they knew they had to do something just so in the history books it doesn't look quite as bad. To DCX Warlord's point, yes, if LA Knight right now went to TNA, he would once again be a world champion. If he went to the NWA, MLW, he'd be a world champion anywhere. It's not that he isn't world championship material. It's nothing against him. But when you put somebody in that position, in order for them to sell to the really casual fans, they have to be in a main event position for 3 to 5 years, right? We saw that with Roman Reigns. He didn't become a draw for 3 to 5 years. So if you want, we got to be doing that with younger stars, not older stars, is essentially the point I'm getting at. Bron Breakker needs to be given those opportunities over Femi, those likes of people, maybe a Trick Williams, over somebody who's in his mid-40s.
I understand why Bron Breakker shouldn't get beat by LA Knight. I get it. I get Bron's a rising star. What I don't get is why LA Knight isn't in the match with CM Punk and Jey Uso. I know it was a Battle Royale situation. I get it. I just... he's been circling around that storyline, and he gave a great promo last night. He held the sign. The fans are clamoring for it. We all know. I think every wrestling fan I've spoke to would rather see LA Knight in that title picture than Jey Uso. I don't understand why WWE don't see that.
You want me to tell you a secret? And
what?
It's a secret nobody's talking about.
Go on.
Jey Uso is a much bigger draw. Yes, sure, you can say he's getting dislikes on all these YouTube videos, and that's a very real stat. But the fact is, his videos get way more views than LA Knight's do. LA Knight has a really passionate, hardcore fan base. Jey Uso, he's a way bigger star, way bigger draw. And a lot of that's because he's been in that position for a lot longer. But the fact is, if you want LA Knight to become that level of a draw, you need to put him in this main event team for 2 years, right? CM Punk versus Jey Uso is going to sell better than CM Punk and LA Knight does, right? Don't get me wrong, they could have done either on a Saturday night's main event, but that's why.
I think it goes under the radar, though, how, me and you went to Money in the Bank in London. How many people were shouting LA Knight? That has not changed. Right. We are now 2 calendar years down the line, and people are he's still as over. When his music hits, the crowd pop as loud as they pop for the rest of the night. When he's on the mic hitting a promo and he says, yeah, and they echo yeah back to him.
They do that,
It's as good a call and response as you'll get from anybody. I just don't understand what he's not got. And then that's when I throw Damian Priest in, because he is younger than Priest. I think, months, but they've been the same calendar year. So,
well, Priest was a mistake. He didn't draw. He didn't draw. It was a failure, and they've gotten rid of him from the
So
main
do you think
event
maybe
scene and not
that's
looked
why
back.
maybe that's why LA Knights, because they're like, it's too much of a
Potentially.
risk to
Sorry, to be clear, I think they should have given LA Knight that opportunity over Damian Priest.
Yeah, I agree. And that's the thing. It's 2 years ago, and that's that. If they'd have got that opportunity, then who knows where we'd be now? He might be considered a main event if he'd have had that good run. And I just feel like we're getting further and further away from it being plausible. Even when you throw his feud with Roman Reigns in, as short as it was, I remember that feud throughout Rome. There's plenty of Roman's feuds that I've forgotten throughout that time. But I remember LA Knight storming past him and interrupting his music. And I remember that interaction. And I think that's a credit to LA Knight. And that's why I think he belongs in the main event scene, even if he's not going to be that 12-month champion that is the quarterback or what have you.
Yeah. I mean, look, him having the odd match, I don't mind. But Des, I do want to get your thoughts on this one.
I don't think they're burying him at all. I feel like that's a term in wrestling people throw away way too loosely, right? If there's a guy that's consistently losing, oh, he's getting buried, oh, he's not going to get pushed anymore. LA Knight is being part of one of the biggest programs right now with the Vision. He did lose a Braun Breaker. He did lose a Bronson Reed. But the guy's being featured multiple times on Raw. He's also had chances to have like Saturday Night's main event. Look, I agree with you guys. I do feel like this is almost going to be like a missed opportunity. LA Knight, he should have been a World Heavyweight Champion in 2023, right? The iron was hot. You got to strike on it. That's one thing you learn about business. When something's really hot, you just got to ride the momentum. And I feel like that's what they should have done with LA Knight. But I do got to say, I get why he's not being seen as a big guy, because he's just helping. He's there for the main event scene, right? I do think he's a draw. You make a lot of good points because, every time he comes out, the crowd does go crazy. But to compare to someone like Jey Uso, multiple people know Jey Uso, right? And I can say that from experience. My sister, shout out to her, she makes a lot of cakes. And one of her most famous cakes that she's ever made was a Jey Uso cake. And it's because everybody knows who Jey Uso is, right? He's very popular when it comes to a lot of younger children because a lot of kids look at him and they're like, oh man, that guy's really cool. And the WWE sees that and they want to push the guy more and more because he's bringing in so much revenue. He's become such a draw. I do believe LA Knight will be a champion. I just don't know exactly when. I could definitely see a situation where they give him a short title run for like a solid 4 or 6 months, because they've shown WWE can do that. If they can go back to maybe the 3-month reign, I do feel like LA Knight gets a chance. It just sucks because it's always like patience is a virtue, and LA Knight fans, they know a lot about patience, but I truly do believe he'll be a champion, just not yet.
Des, you're saying he'd be a 4 to 6 months champion. I'm going to be honest, and it's a huge if, he ever does win a world title, I think it'll be for 4 to 6 minutes. Because I think if he ever does get the belt, it's for like somebody to cash in. I think he's going to literally be that quick turnover champion where they give him his moment for a minute and then take it away.
I don't know. I don't know. I'm probably in the 2 to 3 month. Is where I think if and I think he does deserve it. I think he's earned it. I think there's people on the roster, and this I feel like I'm digging other people out, but I'm not. I just think that. So this is one thing you talk about, the fact that Jey Uso appeals to a younger audience, which he does. Everyone I've spoke to that has, since the resurgence of WWE and wrestling, right? Wrestling coming through again, whatever. Right. Everyone from an older demographic that has come back to it, that I really kind of speak to, they love LA Knight. Yeah. Because he gives you a little bit of that Attitude Era vibe in his promos. Right. There's something. It's not a secret that he's taken a lot from The Rock and Stone Cold in the way that he delivers his promos and stuff like that. So whether it's a bit of nostalgia, a lot of people I've spoke to that have come back to wrestling love LA Knight, and I get it. Jey Uso's reaching this demographic of the kids, and you're not going to lose them. You're not going to lose them. But if you continue to do other things that WWE might be doing that might not make people happy, and continue not to push the favorite from this specific demographic, I think then you are in worry of losing people. But I don't know.
I don't think anybody's going to start watching WWE purely because LA Knight doesn't.
No, it might be the straw that broke the camel's back, though. It might be the straw that broke the camel's back. There's other things.
I do want to add, though. You're right, Jordy, because one of my friends who I work with, he was someone that got into WWE, and he told me, man, that LA Knight guy, he's the reason why I'm getting back into it. So I totally get what
One of my friends as well wasn't even into wrestling at the time, but got invited to watch Money in the Bank through O2, and from that night loved LA Knight and was like, I'm gonna start watching wrestling again, and this is my guy. I don't know why, but I like him, and I think he does have that quality, and I just hope that they cash in on it at some point. I'd actually like to see him win Money in the Bank finally. I think that would be the great start of his arc, because he's been in the match 3 damn times now.
True.
And
Start of an
every time I
arc?
want him to win it.
An arc.
Maybe.
Well,
I'm
yeah,
telling
he
a
can cash in.
storybook here. The dude's like 2 minutes away from a retirement home.
Yeah, of course we are telling us, bro. Storytelling is a key component in wrestling.
It is.
You need to get
But we're
people
like-
invested in the story.
We're in the
and
final
I think
chapter
people
of his
are.
career. Not a start
Come
of a
on
new
now,
arc.
come on now. He could make it another 5-6 years, I reckon.
He could, no, in all seriousness, he could make it
Maybe.
another 5-6 years. I do
Especially
agree
with
there.
his style, he doesn't have.
True.
He's got a style that's good to watch, but isn't necessarily. He won't keep doing the springboard jump to the top ropes. I imagine.
Right.
There's stuff like that will fall, but he's not somebody who like has got this really high intensity, high impact style that I think he'll age well in wrestling.
Yeah, I do
Yeah.
agree that he does have a few years left, but the fact
He
is,
might,
like I
he
said,
might
it
even
takes.
end up in a managerial position, you know.
That's what I've
Possible.
said. That's what
I
I've
agree.
always said. I've always said you can watch when we were there WrestleMania 39 weekend. I said it on the podcast there, right in LA. I said this guy's potential is not going to be as a wrestler. It's going to long term be as a manager, because he could be a voice for somebody. And honestly, I'd put him in a position like that as like a player manager
Max
in the next
Dupree.
couple of years.
That'd be interesting. It would be storytelling, honestly, given they were
I'd put him with Obafemi.
Oba
yeah.
doesn't need a voice, though.
I don't know. Yeah, I think Oba does well
I
without
think
the
he
microphone.
might. In
On the main
bigger
roster. He might,
arenas,
yeah.
I think he might.
He might get
Maybe.
lost in a battle against it.
I
True.
think
Big
what
player.
chance might dominate certain one of his promos.
Right, yeah.
It's a good show.
But I want to quickly read some of these comments out, because Ben Davis is saying he's not that bad. He would still watch. There are worse options. It's just horrible timing right now. You have Seth out, and you have to go with your proven main eventers for the
Sure.
next few months. Oh, that's responding to the previous comment where Fernando says LA Knight is much better than Jay. I don't get this Jay hate. I really, really don't. And I think
I don't hate Jay. Just to clarify that, I do prefer LA Knight, but I love Jay. So
He's
it's
great.
crazy because the IWC hates him. The crowds love him every week.
I wish
without
he'd stop
fail.
running it back, though. I do have to say.
As a viewer, I wish that.
And I appreciate
Yeah.
that it's probably fun in the arena, and I'm probably being a grumpy old man, but like I don't need to run it back every
I agree.
single time. Like I just think
Yank.
save it for a PLE and like actually make it like a thing. So when you're actually there for a run it back, it's exciting. Or do it after the match when they're showing a vignette or something, but just leave me out of it if possible.
I completely agree. To be fair, though, I think a lot of times it is during the ad break, which we in the UK
Oh,
see,
okay.
but in America they don't. I think that is a factor.
At
But even
times.
still, it's a little bit ridiculous. But the IWC hates everything, says Ben. But we now need to move on, because we need to talk about this promo between CM Punk and Jey Uso. Talking about Jey Uso, because last night they had what I thought was a really good promo battle, and the question which I'm going to ask you, Jordy, is who do you think came out on top after it?
Oh, that's tough. That is tough. Probably Punk. And I think Punk needs to. Purely because I think he needs to look like Jay needs to look like the underdog going in, and I think he always will against CM Punk. I think it's hard to come out on top in a promo battle against CM Punk. But again, this looks like I'm saying a lot of bad things about Jey Uso. I do love Jey Uso. I just think last night, if it have gone really kind of back on the attack at Punk, I think it would have maybe done a little bit better. But I think he played it, and I think it's an intentional from a storytelling perspective that he played it in a very calm manner. I was like, all right, cool, let's go. So yeah, because it looked like Punk was trying to get a rise out of him almost, right? And he didn't necessarily really do it to that point that Punk probably wanted to get into his head. So actually now I've changed my own mind now. Maybe in the narrative where Punk was really trying to rile him up and he didn't achieve that, I would probably say Jey Uso came out on top. But in terms of like lines delivered, zingers, I would probably Punk definitely won that.
That's the thing, though. Like you said, the zingers didn't deliver. And for that reason, I honestly think, for once, Jey Uso came out of a promo battle on top.
Yeah, I think definitely from the narrative perspective, because it's like if you keep throwing insults at somebody and they don't really say much back, and you're just like, all right, cool, let's see on Saturday. And then it's like, you're taking the moral high ground, aren't you? And then that other person kind of looks like, and it was like Punk was saying stuff like, I'm going to slap your grill out of your mouth and stuff like that. And he was just like, all right, sound, see you on Saturday. Like, so yeah, I changed my own mind halfway through my opinion. I actually think Jey came out on top.
Emma Dan 43 saying that they're watching from Nigeria. Shout out to you. We've got Ben Davis saying this looks like Punk didn't take him seriously. I got a gut feeling Jey is going to go right-hand man on him.
Could do.
Yeah, I agree.
Are we going to see a heel turn on Saturday, Jordy?
Let's have it. I want it. I want it because, right, let me quickly say this. Jey Uso right now, if you ask the IWC, is being overpushed, right? Who else was overpushed? Roman Reigns. When did Roman Reigns' character really kick off and really kick the all right, if you don't like him, we'll make you not like him. And I think that's what we need to do with Jey Uso at this point. And I think he needs to take Jimmy out. And then Jimmy goes off, baby daddies, for a bit. Comes back. And I think that is when Jimmy will actually finally get the push that he's deserved since the Bloodline arc. Because, like, Jimmy's the only one for me that really hasn't benefited in a solo aspect. Not the name drop of Solo, but like I think that if Jey takes him out, big heel turn, everyone hates Jey, then Jimmy comes back in a few months' time, huge pop. I think that's when Jimmy will finally might get the push that he deserves. But yeah, I think heel turn. Let's do it.
I think it's risky. I think you lose a lot of money by doing it. To be honest with you, don't think it's the right move. I think I'd personally just not over push Jey Uso, just, but the fact they are over pushing him, to your point, Jordy, does make me think it's very, very possible. So it's definitely something to keep an eye on. And I love that idea of doing Jey and Jimmy and finally letting Jimmy get a win as well. Just like, though, LA Knight, I can't see Jimmy ever winning a world championship, unfortunately. Even though he deserves it, I can't see him getting that accolade.
I think LA Knight's closer than Jimmy.
Oh, yeah.
Fortunately.
Even I'd say that.
That's it, too.
But we never know. If he comes back with a huge pop, we'll see.
True.
Because people are going to love Naomi when she comes back as well. So
that's a good point.
You're not wrong at all, and them coming back together would be a big, big deal. But up next, guys, I need to tell you about what's going on at Wrestling Republic this week, because yesterday we had the weekly podcast where me, Clark, and Shard spoke about whether or not Chris Jericho is going to return to WWE, whether or not The Rock was involved in what we now know as the WrestleMania teaser. So clearly he wasn't, but could he still be involved in Jericho's return? Who knows? We talk about that and a lot more, and me and Shard get into a really heated debate about Bron Breakker and Trick Williams. Who is more world title ready this minute? Make sure to check that out. Also, today on the Wrestling Republic YouTube channel, I uploaded Allison analysis with my 5 key findings from this week in pro wrestling. A fast-paced 8-minute video. Check that out. And then on Thursday, me and Dez are going to be giving our top 10 options to dethrone Cody Rhodes. And then on Friday, it will be the top 5 takes of the week from Wrestling Republic's daily broadcast. So make sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload. Up next, talking about not missing, JD McDonough did not miss when he took on Sheamus last night, because I expected a bit of a banger, and it certainly was. But what I didn't expect was for JD to actually get the win. Yes, it wasn't clean, but even still, I was shocked.
Yeah, I'm with you. I was not expecting it. I was really saying for a while, and I feel like now that I've gotten older, I've got to understand, Sheamus might be like one of the most underrated wrestlers. Not in terms of character, not in terms of promos, wrestlers. This guy is almost pushing like 50, and he's putting on banger after banger after banger. Like, it's not just a moniker. It's become a philosophy because he keeps on doing it. McDonough, Rusev, Ludwig Kaiser. Like, the guy is really, really underrated. He puts on great matches. Having JD McDonough win here was the right call, because what I feel like they could start doing is they could start having guys like JD and Finn like winning on their own, and now that Dirty Dominic is not getting as much help now because he's with the Americanos. I feel like, although this is something that should have happened eons ago, if the Americanos stop helping Dominic because El Grande Americano might be looking at that AAA Mega Championship, maybe this could be a sign where it's like, okay, Dominic, he doesn't need us anymore. So now he's on a losing streak where now Finn and JD, they want to help each other because it's just them against the world. Also, I am very happy that Adam Pearce did not book them for the Raw Tag Team Championship. I know that was never the plan, but please don't do it. We've done this multiple times. I like this, right? JD versus Finn. JD versus Sheamus. You want to run Finn versus Sheamus next week? This is great because it's something new. It was something exciting. And honestly, I thought it was probably one of the best matches of the night.
Sorry, I couldn't unmute my mic
No.
there for a second.
No,
I was
it's
stuck
okay.
on a different tab.
You were so shocked at how good it was.
I was.
Stunned.
It was a fantastic take. But the one thing I'm unsure about is I might be imagining things here.
No, they did, Ben. They did.
Yeah.
They've booked it for next week.
Yeah,
Oh,
what
they
you're
did book
gonna
it for
say.
next week.
they have.
Yeah.
Perfect. There we go. I guess I might have missed it.
They've got a rematch for the tag
Yeah,
titles.
so they've
next
done
week.
it. Adam Pearce
Oh.
gave in.
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
Yeah.
Hopefully,
I thought I was losing my mind then. I
no,
was,
it
like,
was
3 a.m.
the approval of one AJ Styles, I believe. He said.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, you're right.
Him and Ray
Yeah.
Phoenix said, "Come and have a go if you think you're hard enough." Essentially,
That's right. That's a good
Ben
point.
says that JD never disappoints, and you are right
True.
there.
Yeah.
I mean, I was watching
Unreal.
him in OTT Wrestling in Ireland years ago, and that guy, incredible matches. His match against Walter from, I believe, 2017?
Believe so,
maybe
yeah.
2018? Incredible. One of the best stories
Irish
ever.
Ace.
And that, actually, the video package they did right before the match as well is one of my all-time favorite video packages in professional wrestling. Definitely check that out if you have not seen it. Fernando does not want to see any more tag
Thank you,
titles for the
Fernando.
Judgment Day.
Thank you.
I want
We've done
Roxanne
this
to win
before.
one. I want Roxanne to win one.
That'd
Does
be
she
Oh,
count
yeah.
as Judgment Day?
Yeah,
Hey, they're
the
turning on
the
Dom, aren't
women's
they?
fine, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
the
not
women's
the men.
fine. Not
What's
the
the
men's.
situation? Do you think Liv and Dom are gonna like just go off on their own? Because like everyone's turning on Dom. I don't know if Liv will when she returns.
I think
I don't know.
it's incredibly probable
Face
that they try and turn Dom face with Liv.
I do too. I do too.
I think so.
China. I think China and Eddie. I really do. I think it'll be that kind of situation, and I think it'll work. I don't know how long for, but I think it will work.
I think so too.
I agree. I think they can get away for the crowd to cheer Dom. But I think one, it'll be hard. But secondly, I just don't know if I do it because he's that good of a heel right now. And I think I'd honestly give him the WWE Championship or the world title before turning him face
Yeah. No, I actually
as a
thought this-
transitional champion.
Yeah, no, I did
Maybe.
think this when they confirmed the IC match. I just thought, well, if he does lose that belt, like how long until he lies and cheats and steals his way up to the top? Because
Right.
I think he's shown with this run that he can have a short heel run with. He'd be a perfect right now transitional champion if you need
Yeah.
to put it on a heel to get it back on a face.
Exactly.
I agree.
And I think as well, going back to what you said about Sheamus, people like him are invaluable on this roster right now. Invaluable
Sad.
because he has got that history that he can just lose a match against JD McDonough and he's put him over because he's got enough
That's true.
stature.
It's true.
And how many of them do you have on the roster that are happy to float in that mid card that don't want to be right up there right now?
Right.
I just think the role that he plays, when I saw that last night, it just all clicked. It's like I know why they've signed him onto a decent contract because like
Right.
you need to keep him around.
He's great.
Yeah.
Great.
There's
hands.
no doubt about it. I do want to quickly, before we move on, throw something out there, because when I look at JD, we've been talking about all episode about who's going to be a world champion, who's not going to be a world champion. I think JD McDonough is somebody who is never going to be a world champion in the company, but it does make me think, I wish they still had the cruiserweight belt. Because if they still had that on the main roster, I think there's so many guys, the Dragon Lees, the JD McDonoughs, it's something for them where it gives them an accolade, it gets them showcased, and it actually matters. And I'm not always a mid-card guy, but the cruiserweight title, I think, is very logical.
Bin the speed one.
Yeah.
Bring back the cruiserweight.
The speed one. Wait, they are doing the speed one.
Chuck that in the bin.
That's true.
Bin the speed ones. Bring back a cruiserweight belt. And my only worry is like, what we've seen with the introduction of the women's mid-card belts, and it's like very much like we thought they were bringing the US one and it was going to be a cross-brand belt, and I think as much as I'd love to see one on each brand, I did think that was the best way to do it, to build some stature to it before bringing in an IC title. But because they brought in both at once, it very much felt like it just went, all right, here we go. And it's like, yeah, well, what? You need to book them well. Like, you can't just throw the belt in and expect us to just care. Like,
true.
Do you know what? Screw Evolve, screw whatever else they're introducing, screw Speed. Give me 30 minutes of 205 Live again every week. Because that only stopped having a fan base when they stopped caring about it and started putting rubbish wrestlers who weren't really good cruiserweights on there. When it was good, people were watching it and were enjoying it every week. I was shocked. It was way more successful than I thought it would be. So I think bring back 205 Live. Do it properly. Don't do it like main event. Film it every week. Put it on YouTube.
Build a storyline around it as well, because you could make it that Rey Mysterio, for example, is like, there's too many great cruiserweight luchador style wrestlers that aren't getting the opportunity. So I want to pioneer bringing something back that will give them that opportunity. And I think that would be a fun storyline in itself. So I'd be all for it. Chuck the rest in the bin. I'm with.
Have Rey Mysterio be the GM once he's retired.
Yeah,
that'd be interesting. And you also have TNA and AAA too. They can take part. It can work.
There's so much. Just tell stories. Don't make it like main event. Make it matter. Right. And I think it has a place, even if it's just on YouTube, because more and more now they are experimenting with this YouTube stuff.
True.
Because it's obviously they do in a lot of ad revenue on there because they put ads in like every 2 minutes. So I think it's very, very possible, and I would really, really like to see it happen. And yeah, in fact, before that, do a Cruiserweight Classic to set it up again as well.
Yeah,
fire.
Yeah, definitely.
But up next, guys, we need to talk about the main event, the Women's Tag Team Championships. Charlexa versus Bayley and Lyra. Bayley, we know, has been going crazy over the last few weeks, but honestly, I've really been liking the dynamic between Lyra and between Bayley. It's been really entertaining to watch. So I'm not going to lie to you guys. Part of me wanted them to win this match here, but they didn't. Charlexa won, and Des, I feel like Bayley is going to go a little bit nuts next week.
Yeah, I think she is too, and I think it makes a lot of sense because, 1 week she's happy, 1 week she's mad, and I feel like it fits the character right now. Also, I just want to give a quick shout out, man. This is great. We've had 2 Raw women main events. Rhea versus Asuka, and now Charlexa versus Lyra and Bayley, man. See, we don't always need division. Even if people might be like, oh, it's not really a worthy main event match, just put it as the main event, because guess what? It turned out to be another fantastic tag team match, because Lyra and Bayley, as a team and as opponents, they have great chemistry, and we've seen it here. I do wonder, though, who's going to beat Charlexa, and I also wonder if this is also going to play into War Games, because now you had the Kabuki Warriors involved, and with Survivor Series coming up, I'm always thinking in my head, okay, are they going to be in a team? Are they going to be in a team? Last year, I feel like Survivor Series, the War Games match, wasn't warranted. This year, I feel like it is warranted because you have the storyline with Bayley and Lyra. You have the storyline with, right now, Roxkel and Stephanie Vaquer, and then Nikki Bella's also in there. You have the storyline with Rhea, Io, and the Kabuki Warriors. So I'm really fascinated to know how they're going to do this at Survivor Series. But once again, quick shout out to the woman putting on another fantastic showing. And I hope this could also open more doors for more women to main event, even on something like SmackDown.
Triple H might want to take his headphones off for a minute because I'm going to use the word he doesn't like, and that is pivot. Because I'm not entirely sure if that's not what they're doing here, because I'm beginning to think we know Rhea Ripley suffered a broken nose. Is Rhea Ripley out of War Games because of that? And if that is the case, maybe now that's why they've changed direction and they're going to do the 4 that we saw last night, Charlexa, Bailey, and Lyra, alongside Io Sky against the Kabuki Warriors, and then maybe the Judgment Day Girls or something like that.
Right. Maybe Becky too.
Maybe. What's your thoughts, Jordy?
Apologies, I was muted. I had a bit of a cough, but there we go. So I want War Games to be Team AJ Lee versus Team Becky Lynch anyway. So one thing I will say about this is that I don't think it would rule Rhea Ripley out of War Games through a broken nose unless it was really, really bad. Because I think it wouldn't surprise me if she's broken nose on purpose just so she's got an excuse to wear that mask again. Because that was one of the coolest damn things I've ever seen when she came out wearing that at War Games and actually wrestled in it. Like a mask
on purpose.
Yeah. I think she got a purpose broken nose so she can get the devil mask back out and wrestle in it again at War Games. But no, in all seriousness, I actually, for that reason, I don't think a broken nose would stop her if she could get there. Maybe she'll return at War Games or something like that. I feel like they would write her off TV in a storyline sense. You know, Jade Cargill getting spotted on a car or something like that. To actually let us know that she's out for an elongated amount of time. Yeah, with Charlex, I mean, they could head to War Games. You're right. There's at the moment there's a lot of 2s. There's no 4s. There's no 5s. There's a lot of 2s. I personally would like to see Team AJ Lee versus Team Becky Lynch, and I would like to see Maxine Dupree and Team AJ Lee just because I would like to see Maxine in a War Games match. I think then you can start just. Becky can essentially build a team of heels. AJ can build a team of faces that could include Charlotte, which obviously then Charlotte and Becky being in opposite teams is always fun. I'd like to see him go down that route personally, especially if Rhea is out and that was the original plan. I would have thought that part of AJ Lee's team would have been Rhea Ripley and Io Sky, and part of Becky's team would have been Asuka and Kairi Sane. But if that's not where we can head, I'm a little bit gutted because I just would have loved to see as well, like Rhea, AJ Lee, Maxine Dupree, Io Sky all line up together on the same War Games team. I think it'd be epic.
That would be nuts. I mean, last night we did see Maxine was saying that she needs to phone someone and get some advice. I thought that was Natty in the segment. I thought that's who she was referencing, but maybe it is AJ Lee.
Light it up.
I think so too. I think it makes a lot of sense too, actually, having Maxine and Becky wrestle, because now that AJ Lee's back from wrestling, she can be kind of rusty, right? So Becky is facing wrestlers who probably aren't the best in ring, but are actively getting better each week, and it's a great way to showcase that. I always felt that was going to be the route with Becky and Maxine, where AJ Lee would be on Maxine's side and she would help her like get to the top, but then eventually to AJ and Becky. The only thing is, I don't know if AJ Lee is going to be back for Survivor Series because I honestly don't know when she's going to be back. But if they did do Becky,
I think she will. She's not hurt or anything. It's just she's just a part-timer, so they'll bring her back for the big shows.
That's fair. If that's the case, then yeah, I'm with you, Jordy. And AJ and Becky Lynch War Games makes a lot of sense, to be honest.
It wouldn't surprise me if they're eyeing up a Becky versus AJ Lee situation for Mania, and this can just be one.
I believe so.
That's a long way.
It is. But if AJ Lee's a part timer, she comes back for a War Games match. She gets another over on Becky. She knocks Becky out of the Rumble. She knocks Becky out of the Elimination Chamber. That's all it takes.
It's true.
Like, there's not a lot, because once you get War Games out of the way, there's not a lot of PLEs, and then all of a sudden it's Rumble and you're in Mania season. So
yeah, you're right, but I mean, Mania is a bit later as well this year again. I'd honestly say do it at the Rumble. I do that as the big match then.
Yeah, true. I don't disagree. I just think that like Becky versus AJ Lee WrestleMania doesn't need a belt, and I think that is something that if I was
so you're saying take the belt off Becky first?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maxine maybe because of AJ Lee gets the belt off Becky, and then a non-belt blood feud. Just you've been ruining my year since you returned. I need to take you down on the biggest stage of them all because I'm the man and this is my yard still. And
Jordy's bang on. That's what I'm thinking too.
Mhm.
Now that you've said that, taking the title off her, I'm not against waiting that long, right? I still think it'll be difficult. I do think fans will complain to an extent if we get to March time and the story's still going on. I think maybe it's too much of a slow burn. But look, I think it's possible. There's a world where they can do it. That is for sure. And to also answer your question, Desmond, who will take the belts off Alexa? I do think it's the two people we mentioned a minute ago, Rhea and Io. I do think they're going to be the ones to hold it because I think they're going to keep both of those out of that scene, out of the world title scene for a little bit of time. But that does bring us to the end of today's program, guys. Thank you to Des. Thank you to Jordy for joining me, Hugh. And we will be back same time, same place tomorrow to talk some of the best news stories in professional wrestling. See you guys then. Peace.